Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Sorry about last week. I was in Florida on a business trip with my team, and there's a lot of those kind of things going on now. It's getting more and more. We have a kick-ass team of people, engineers and biometric experts who make HRV and EEG and circuit design. One of our guys did the animation for Star Trek. We've got really a great group of people here. Before I begin anything more, I'm going to, let's see. Here's where you can go to get today's soundtrack. scientificsounds.com/truth. Here's where you can go to ask a question about anything we cover here. scientificsounds.com/ask-a-question. Here's where you can go to see all the YouTubes that I've done up to this point. I think this is number 101, magic number. So as this sort of strange new chapter has been opening up, at least in my life, which I'm sure is in everybody else's life as well, we're all sort of linked together now. People are arriving. The people of the team that I need to have are showing up. And some of those people who show up don't fit. They're not the right people. Just because somebody shows up doesn't mean that they're actually somebody who should be there. There will always be a refractory period when there's a lot of false starts, and there's a lot of people who are attracted because they'd love to be there, but they're not coming from the place of integrity that the group, at least in my life, that is forming requires as a foundation. If I had somebody with a lot of money, tens of millions of dollars who wanted to invest in some project I'm doing, the money is superseded by the character of the person who's showing up. I don't want your money if you're not in the right, if your head's not screwed on right and aligned in the same way that the team that we have assembling itself has a vision of. So has to be a shared vision. There has to be a shared understanding of sort of holistic spiritual principles of business and attitude towards money, and a higher vision of what you're here to try to do that, yes, could make a lot of money for everybody, but the purpose of the enterprise is not to make huge amounts of money for everybody as the only thing that we're trying to do. It's unlikely that anybody in the team that's forming, if they got a huge influx of cash, would just retire and go on a beach somewhere. The people that are showing up have an agenda, have a focus, have a goal, have a plan, have a life purpose that's being pursued that requires money, so when money comes, it's sort of put in that context. And so I see, sort of how that goes. It's, you start on an enterprise and the universe starts showing people up. But people showing up, some of it is a test, and some of it is for real. And after a while, sort of an organ of discernment begins to develop. Pretty soon you can see someone who's not in integrity and has alternative purposes like that. You get better and better and better at seeing someone who spiritually fits in and someone who doesn't. And at this point in my life, I don't have time for anything else except truth and integrity. It doesn't mean that if you've got problems and you're afraid you're not going to fit in because of this lack or that lack, that's not a lack that can be overcome. And everybody in the team would help with that. It's the concept of buffing yourself up falsely in order to make yourself look better when that's not really true, in order to gain friendship or gain influence or become a member of a team to which you don't truly belong because of that integrity issue. If that was stripped away and you were honest about shortcomings and shortfalls, but the alignment was there and the talent and skills that you've got are something that's needed, then that's different. So many of my recent experiences as the format of my personal life has been changing, and all of these things are shifting and changing so rapidly as sort of making my head spin. The core thing about it all that I've seen emerging out of all of this is the assembly of a group of people who are forming a symbiotic relationship with each other on the basis of truth about who I am and what I'm here for, what I can do and what I can't do. So that's pretty much it. Not many of these people will, another thing I've noticed is if you have a goal or you have a plan, you already know everybody you need to know to make that work. You already have all the tools that you need to carry it off. They're strewn at your feet. It's one degree of separation now. You don't have to search too far. And once you get into sort of the groove of the flow of this interaction with the universe at large, things start to happen faster and faster and faster. You come up with something that you need, and it comes within a week, and then it comes within a few days, and then it comes that afternoon, or immediately in a few minutes somebody says, I know somebody who could, sort of like that. And when that flow gets to a certain point, anyone who is not in a level of integrity who flows into the situation becomes painfully obvious right away. Everybody notices it. So that's pretty much where my experience has been recently in the last few months. People in and out of integrity, coming and going, and as time goes on, less and less of those people even show up. Eventually, it gets honed to a point where it's obvious who's in integrity and who is not as soon as they show up. And the group sort of doesn't have time for it anymore. Me, at one point in my life, I looked in the mirror and I had gray hair and I thought, oh, I get, I don't have to be polite anymore. I don't have a lot of extra time to sling around dealing with your baloney. Or you're shining me on for some reason in order to, let me introduce myself. My name is such and such, and I'm here to try to figure out how you can fund my project and spend all of your own personal time making my life work. That's not how it works anymore. A true symbiotic relationship is where each person gives an equal amount to the situation in order to make a new thing happen. And people are equal in that. You give exactly what I'm missing, and vice versa. And if it's you give a piece of the puzzle that this group needs, then it becomes obvious what percentage of the piece of the puzzle that's worth. Sometimes it's permanent and sometimes it's not. It depends. But it's caused me to dwell more and more with the experiences I've been having recently. How important it is to police your space. Right along with the gray hair, I'm in the mirror. I'm saying, I've now earned the right to fire people out of my space. You don't get to be around me anymore if it's not from a place of truth and integrity, and that what we're trying to accomplish aligns. Many people will come and go. Underlying that is me coming to a place of myself where I know how to say no. And saying no because I don't have the time. And I'm on a trajectory. Anything that's not directly aligned with that trajectory is, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to spend there with whoever you are. And if you're not coming from a place of integrity, you're trying to shine me on, then I don't have any time for you. I've already done that work. I don't need to have that anymore. I don't have time for that. I'll be polite as possible, but I've earned the right to not be polite if it serves my purpose to move it along. So when we, contemplate the deepness of what we mean by the word truth, and what each one of us believes to be the truth, to me, it's the only thing that is the foundation of truth in my life is things that I have personally experienced and I know they're true about me and about others and about things. Other things I have to, if I'm in truth with myself, I can differentiate which things are foundational truth for me because of personal experience, and which things I've read about or had conversations with people about or experienced secondhand that appear to be truthful and have stood the test of time of being truthful. But someplace in the back of my mind, I'll always reserve the right to throw that truth away when a higher level of truth shows up. Now, that shows me that I was wrong there, which kind of comes down to most of us of not wanting. Some part of us doesn't want to really tell the whole truth of who I am or what I believe, because someone might challenge that with credible evidence that would shake my foundation. If I'm not already in a position where I know the truth of truth in my life from personal experience, and I know truth that is most likely true, even if it's 99.9%, there's always a possibility that if this is not true, then this, and this aren't true either. And I have to be willing to allow that to happen, because I will be presented with a deeper level of truth that has more meaning for me than the partial truths that I had before that I thought was the whole thing. So that's basically the idea behind sharing who you are, sharing the truth of what you are and what you believe, and throwing it out there for scrutiny by other people. Hopefully you will find out that some of the things that you thought were true are not true, and that you can adjust yourself and step through a new doorway to deeper levels of experience that you wouldn't have had before because you didn't release that. But at some point you sort of spread your chest open and allow the truth of who you are to shine through. Whenever you do that, it's always a good thing. People respond to that, or they get nervous. People who have non-truth at their core bluster and trying to make myself look better and beefing myself up falsely so that I'll look better in your eyes. Those people get very nervous in the presence of someone who's coming from integrity and truth. And as I said, it gets more and more obvious to see the telltale signs of what that's like. It's never too late to exit that type of state of consciousness and go for what is truly truthful in reality, truthful in your life. Seek that out. Seekers after truth. We've discussed, various mystics and enlightened people from the past. We've mentioned George Ivanovich Gurdjieff, who came over in the 20s with all these secrets from the Middle East and the Far East, woven together into a new format for the Western mind. Pretty mind-blowing stuff. But he called himself, and the group that was forming around him, he called the Seekers After Truth. Wherever that would take you, that you sort of boldly go to it to strip away down to the nub of what's actually so, and throw away whatever illusions you had. From the dictionary, here we go. Truth, the quality of being true, genuine, actual, factual, something that is true as opposed to false. A proven or verified principle or statement, a sort of fact. A system of concepts purporting to represent some aspect of the world. The truth of the cosmos, the truth of quantum physics, the truth of ancient ideas about the nature of reality. Fidelity to a required standard or law that is proven to be true. Faithful reproduction or portrayal, the truth of a portrait. Truisms, platitudes, honesty, reliability. The state of quality of being faithful, allegiance to the truth. Certain qualities of someone who has these things. And we live in this weird time. A weird time of untruths, mass control of the truth, an Orwellian sort of doublespeak where untruths are broadcast from television and radios and advertisements and YouTube and Facebook and social media, and relentless. When a well-packaged web of lies has been sold gradually to the masses over generations, the truth will seem utterly preposterous, and its speaker a raving lunatic. And in a way, that's where we find ourselves. Population control techniques have been around for a very long time. Social engineering, spreading lies. It's much easier to make a person believe a lie than to make a person believe that they're living a lie, or that many of the precepts that they believe to be true are lies. Very hard to undo that. In a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, George Orwell. He laid it out in great detail. The mechanisms of how you weave lies, change history, rewrite the history, or you don't, or you change the textbooks, or you rewrite things to agree with present ideology, which is a manipulation to make you do something, or be something, or buy something, or be a certain type of person. Mark Twain, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. People who tell lies have to remember all the lies they said in a complex of lies that forms a certain airtight picture. Going back and re-questioning people about this false reality they've been weaving means you have to have a lot of brain power and a lot of memory to remember all the lies you told, or you're going to get caught. Now, all of us do this. All of us do the white lies. It's a social contract that we all do. You know, somebody comes up to you and says, "How you doing?" And you go, "Just fine." That's probably a lie. There's all kinds of problems you've got. Where do you even begin? But it's people are expecting a lie in that sense. Would be interesting if you told the truth about everything. You know, never did a white lie. That would be an interesting experience, and what kind of a life you would have, and how that would affect people. The fact that you have a mask, we all have masks that we wear for different occurrences, different people, different situations. But underlying the mask that we create is the cosmic whole, the true truth about who I am as an energy being in the cosmos, where nothing is sort of ordinary. I talked about that before, the concept of ordinary and the word extraordinary, you know, where in reality ordinary would be the natural evolution of human beings in a natural environment where symbiosis with all of the living beings was the standard. That would be normal. That would be regular. That would be ordinary. The ordinary course of things in biological evolution, in the way things are supposed to align and evolve from the standpoint of great nature, we would be in a very different world than we are now. But once you step out of that, once you step out of the laws of nature and you create something completely new that is not abiding by the rules of nature, something artificial and weird and strange, filled with lies and self-delusion and subterfuge, is where we are. Where we believe that the earth belongs to us, that other creatures are there for our disposal, that we are special. Human beings are the pinnacle of all creation, that we're special beyond belief. And from a standpoint of nature, that's not so. As a matter of fact, from the standpoint of nature, we are a species run amok, like a virus or like a metastasis, cancer. We're destroying the host. We've gone so far off the deep edge that we're not relevant to the planet anymore. And breaking the laws of nature like that is self-defeating. Its penalty is death. At some point, our species will run aground unless we do something to change it. Whole concept of the sixth grand extinction event caused by us right now on the Earth. The concept of climate change and the destruction of our natural environment. All of these things are our doing. And if it's not changed from the standpoint of Earth, our species will run aground and other species will return to the natural order of things. The Earth will heal and life will go on. So in the natural mode of things for each one of us, we have our own task with that. The task that I think I'm sort of ordinary. I think that all of this is not special. So if you repurpose the word ordinary, ordinary would define someone who grows up in a tight community, a tribe, that is not overpopulating the whole planet, run amok, that we have our place, that we are close to one another and close to all the species on the planet, that we live a different kind of life than we're living right now. And that would be ordinary. And extraordinary would be extraordinary. More ordinary than normal. A deeper level of ordinary that's more enlightened, more in touch, more in a symbiosis with all life on Earth. That would be the true definition of ordinary. Regular growing up out of the Earth in a symbiotic relationship with all life. And if you were a spiritual being or a shaman or a healer or something, you're extraordinary. You're extraordinary. You have a deeper connection with life, a deeper connection with the symbiosis of the planet. I love Gloria Steinem. The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off, you know. On the heels of that was a t-shirt I came up with that says, "Waking Up Sucks." When you wake up from the real standpoint of truth, and you see the truth about everything from an enlightened standpoint, you can't not see the pain and the misery and the lies and the deception worldwide all around you, where very, very few people are coming from any level of integrity, particularly if it's got money or power involved. So any place where power or money is involved, no one is to be trusted. It's all corrupt. But as soon as you get to regular people who are just trying to live their lives and assemble some safety and security in their lives, all people on the planet are the same that way. Those people are kindly and generous and helpful and friendly. And if we could remove the negative influences of power and corruption and money from the world, we would be closer to what I'm talking about, a world of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Always be truthful, especially to yourself. The worst thing one can do is lie to self. So once you bring it down to this level, it all starts here, me. Who am I, really? And what kind of subterfuges and lies do I tell myself on a daily basis about me, about my capabilities, about who I am? The lies I tell myself that make me more special than I actually am. But once you reach a point where you reveal the ultimate truth about who you are a magnificent being in the universe. There's everything about who you are and what you are is a unique event in the universe that has never happened before in all of time and will never happen again in all of time. You are a unique event. No two people will ever be the same. There will never be another you with your unique talents. You're special. You don't need to lie to yourself or buff yourself up or falsely expand who you think you are to impress other people or to impress yourself. Most people don't even want to go there. Most people can't handle the truth of who they become. Some people have gone so far down the road that it would be the major task of all time to turn it around. Some people just don't have the energy to make that happen. Other people will fight tooth and claw to, back to the reality of myself and conquer that. All of us are sort of, this whole thing of we're all in the same boat, not true. We're all in the same storm, but we each have our own boat. Some boats are more secure than others. Some have leaks and are really small, thrown around by the waves. Others are in big yachts or big ships. But most of us are guilty of the reassuring lie instead of the inconvenient truth about who we are, what we're doing, what relationship we're in. We don't want to face the fact that our job is killing us because we've got bills to pay and we don't know what the heck we would do if we didn't have this job. Where would you even begin? Most of us don't want to expend the extra energy that would be required to sort of maybe quit the job that you're in and search for the one that would fit you well, that would align with your spirit. It seems also impossible. But once you make that move, the universe steps in to help. Lying is damaging. It's stressful. I mean, that's what the lie detector test is all about, right? Lie detector test. We hook you up, and when you lie, all these subconscious physical things happen that are not under your rational thinking control. Heart rate, respiration, galvanic skin response, things like that. All of these things happen under the hood that you're not in control of. And that's stressful. So if you live a whole life of lying and bolstering yourself artificially and shining people on, then you're living a very, very stressful life all the time. And as far as I'm concerned, stress is the ultimate cause of disease. So you're doing yourself in. You're in a highly stressful situation all the time. And it gets worse. Liars tend to paint themselves in a corner. Sooner or later, end up in trouble. It's all, boils down to what I've discussed before, where stress happens here in the autonomic nervous system here, sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. And running a stress response in the sympathetic on all the time wears out your organs and wears out your glands. It disturbs the basic matrix in the autonomic nervous system. Your body abandons its ability to balance its systems and rebuild tissues and digest food and eliminate toxins and all of that. If that's abandoned for too long, I make myself sick. Sick of lying. The alternative to that is ease, the ultimate state of ease, where all the lies, all the subterfuges fall away. That I seek out a place in myself and a place in the world where I can be 100% who and what I am. No subterfuge, no lies, no extra brain power to figure out how I'm going to perpetuate the lie, remembering all the details of all my lies in order to maintain a false impression with other people. Because underlying that, I don't believe that I'm worthy. I don't believe I'm worth what I want as an income. I believe I want to make $1 million a year, but I don't see how I can do that unless I cheat and lie. In reality, if I ran into the truth of myself and the truth of my being required $1 million, I would have that. It would come to me. If it doesn't, then I have a false opinion, a false assumption of my worth, that $1 million is not at all necessary for me to achieve why the universe has placed me here. But I have a different idea, a false idea about what I want and what I'm here for. Because I've never taken the time to sit with myself and find out what's the truth of me. What would really make the best use of my talents, why I'm here. It's necessary to find this place in yourself, this sort of Buddha mind, and open my third eye and have a good hard look at the truth about me, my environment, my job, my family, the people I'm with, my friends, who I surround myself with, what I believe to be true, what my self-worth is truly from a real standpoint. When I get a taste of that and the energy begins to flow through me and I reconnect with the universe in a powerful way, and I start to follow the path that I'm here for, that I'm created for, it's a thing of joy. The pursuit of money and power drops away. I realized that what I really wanted all along was a sense of fulfillment and joy and balance and love and connection with the universe, connection with myself, connection with other people at a deep level. That's what I want. That's fulfilling. That doesn't require $1 million. It's me standing in the presence of my highest self and getting a good, clear, gut level experience of who I am in the truth of myself at the deepest level I can conceive. That's the part that everybody loves. If I can find that place and I can exhibit that place and I can fill myself up with that and tell the truth of who I am wherever I go and let the chips fall where they may, then I am loved. I spread that love. That love is returned. We become transformed. We speak the truth wherever we go. If you're going to do social intercourse, we're going to obey the rules of the white lie to make social interactions smoother. That's the reason we're doing that. Hey, how are you doing? And you go, fine. At least you can know what you're doing when you say that. At least you can know in yourself. That's a pretty big question, but I don't think we've got the time to go into that right now, so I'm fine. But at least you consciously understand what you're doing. It's not just a knee-jerk response of a white lie that is unconscious. Back to Gurdjieff and one of his pupils. So Gurdjieff had this whole thing about you have fancy schmancy conversations about cosmic truths and all the stuff we discuss here, quantum physics and ancient information from the Vedas and all this cool information about the chakras and the pineal gland and on and on and on and on, all the cool stuff that we ever talk about. He sort of called that palaver. It doesn't actually do anything to cause your spirit to grow and become solidified. It's more in how we can shift our mindset to a more spiritual pursuit. But in reality, it all boils down to, what did you do today to change your life? What did you do? What did you do to wake up today? Was there something that you did? Or are you just like flowing through life and responding to the things that happen to you? No, I tied a string around my finger, and every time I see that string, I go, why is there a string around my finger? Because it's supposed to remind me to use this moment right now to wake up. Yeah, what am I doing? I'm opening the car door to go somewhere. Now's a good time. So this concept of the practicality of what I do at any given time in order to wake up as an activity to actually, on a grounded way, do something about my current condition. How I can wake up more. But Gurdjieff had this student, and it used to be something like a task to help you wake up. So the task would be, the next time you go to the bathroom and close the door, you're going to be present. That's going to be your next opportunity. Things like that. And so this student came and said, I want to stop smoking, so every time I smoke a cigarette, I'm going to use that as my task to remember myself and wake up. And a while later, she came back and she was proud because that had worked, and she stopped smoking. Every time she went to get a cigarette out, she remembered herself, and remembered how vile of a habit it was, and didn't smoke. And Gurdjieff said to her, that's wonderful, that's wonderful. Now you smoke consciously. Smoking or not smoking is not the point. It's me, here, now. What am I doing? Now every time I bring that cigarette up, I'm conscious of lighting it up and smoking. And once I've reached that as a conscious exercise, I can release both. I can release the smoking or not. Yes, it's got negative, bad things that it does to your body. But the higher order of the exercise is, what do I do to wake up? If I'm going to take on a habit, then it goes both ways. And what would it be like the tale of Jesus, who's someone who told the truth no matter what? Concept of a story, whether that story is made up or it's an allegory or it's a real person or not, what would it be like if there was a person on earth who never lied about anything, told the truth about everything? No social white lies, no nothing. The absolute 100% truth of what you believe to be true from your personal experience. What would happen? What would happen? What would that story be like? Well, we know. People can't tolerate somebody who tells the truth all the time. This person, you've got to do something, get this person out. Get them out of the social discourse. But ultimately, being true to yourself is the ultimate form of finding the truth. Everything flows from that. To offer no resistance to life is to be in a state of grace, ease, lightness, no resistance. Surf the moment. Accept the things that come and go. Which brings us to a place in ourselves that's very high. The ultimate truth of who you are in the cosmic scheme of things. Changes who you are, changes everyone you know, changes the energy field around you. It begins to attract similars. It attracts people who are on that same path. It attracts the people that you need in order to accomplish the goal that you're here for, that you're discovering as you discover the truth about yourself. So that's sort of basically what this broadcast is all about. The concept of aligning yourself with similar spirits in the world who are coming from a same place of integrity, or striving the best they can to be that. Those are the people you can bind with and form symbiotic relationships with and get the great work done. At the core of it is me being truthful with myself as best I can be. It's an evolving process. Sometimes I'm astonished by the things that I took for granted to be true, and I found out that that was a mistake. That's not true at all. Something different is what was going on. But that discovery is incredibly releasing, and it changes who I am once I accept that. Decrystallizing the lies that have been fed to me, and that I accepted because they came from authority figures in my life, or it was sort of subtle every place around me saying this is so and it's not. But that's what today is, today's soundtrack. So, headphones, please. And here we go. Thank you all for being here with me this Sunday, and I'll see you next Sunday, 1 week from today. Thank you all very much.